subway stations like this in the States. Washington system is pretty amazing.
Yeah, the metro.
And San Francisco's BART stations are really nice.
Marble walls.
Они пускают. Чуть нельзя.
You are here.
Иностранцы нельзя.
Монахини Анны, монахини Амвросии, Геннадии Донаты, протеерея Иоанна, Анастасии, Ксении Веры, Иоанна, Ксении Светланы, Ильяна Чистовика, Павла Александра, Петра Родителя, Истина, Евгения Кристина, какой-то красный, все список понимаемых, и все какие-то прочищенные христианские можно. И тебе слава, слава, соблюдача своего сея, пресвятых, благих, прежде прящих прибуд, и не причастные славных законных апостолов, преподобных и богоносных отец наш и все святые, души от нас приставшихся раб своих, новоприставленных Георгия, Александра, Сергия, вселений праведных учеников внедрих Авраама покой, и с праведным сокрещет нас помилуй, как благ и человека любит. Блаженного Господи, вечный покой, дай Господи, Богословенный Георгий, Александр, Сергий, и сотворили вечные пламя.
Boy, does he look pissed.
Central light has been extinguished.
This stone,
It's a hot spot.
Yes, was present for monastery
Yeah,
from Vazgen the first.
yeah, I know who he is. I've seen him.
Where?
I saw him in New York. I've seen him several times. I've seen both archbishops.
The Moscow Farmers Market, of all things. It definitely doesn't look like Union Square. Makba, Moscow. Yeah. First television tower. Moscow State University.
No thanks. Does that mean no thanks?
No, thanks, but I don't want.
Hey, no, not again.
Yes, again.
Okay. I'd like to walk
All my life I don't think about religion. Thought, yeah? И народу здесь, да?
Gypsy. Oh, it's raining. It's raining. Big whammy.
And do you know?
Well, graffiti.
To be a.
If you want to be found. Oh, no,
It's interesting. Schwarzenegger. Gorbachev.
Sony.
Men are very bad, and they call death to all men.
Death to old men. Okay. Okay. What does it mean?
Who are sad, who are sad, you'll try to paint, to show, to not show, to draw the train.
And one and
The next,
The next,
for any person who are sad, made to try.
А ты из этого, знаешь, из Наутилуса. Он проблем с теми. Только тут несколько так. А вот хороший, вот здесь, смотри. Сейчас умру. Татарина выжить оставит.
It's about me?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Ты скажешь, ее.
I don't.
And Mike, please show it.
James Bond. Government in action.
Pictures about perestroika and
In here?
inside.
Okay.
Inside.
Yeah, just take pictures.
It's so beautiful. Yeah?
Here you can pay for all your life.
You cut your mic?
Yeah, they fixed it. It was broken.
When?
It was broken.
When? Шампанское? Шампань?
Нет.
Ой, девушка, это вообще, это же жуткая фигня. Вот почему я особенно люблю принимать удивительных девушек. Дело в том, что, понимаете, это сейчас мы формируем из таких, как бы, цветник общества по борьбе с обществом трезвости. У нас есть, сегодня у нас полный набор. Значит, есть стаканы на 2 языках. Вот то, что здесь написано, полностью написано на стакане. Вот. У нас есть стаканы для соотечественников. Потому что все это написано только на одном языке. Вот. И есть так называемая серия стаканов особого назначения. Вот такого. Вступайте. Ой, ну совершенно правильно. А вот симметрия 21-го порядка в неживой природе.
Я же закончила университет.
Да, я тебя поздравляю.
Только что я получила. Слушай, я прихожу на работу, отцепленные полы. Я говорю, почему? Дочь Горбачева, да?
Freezing. Why is it stopping us? There's no car. Oh.
You only close this road. Right road. Between two streets.
Куда там по Яузу?
Это как вам будет удобно? Наверное, так быстрее будет, да, под мостом?
Нет, прямо и налево через мост, на который Рус садится.
And he landed on the bridge near the Red Square. And I'll show you this bridge. Да, что там?
Стоит он.
Ну ладно, давайте мы пройдем пешком, ничего страшного. Недалеко, я думаю, да?
Наверное, я вот здесь сейчас встану.
Значит, никак, да, точно? Туда не...
Ну, видите,
Спасибо.
Спасибо. This guy ain't doing shit. Why is he doing this? Why is he
Let's
doing
go in.
Come over here.
Let's go.
Yuck.
We'll walk the participants of this festival, I think.
So this is the film festival. Say it into the mic. Moscow Film Festival.
Moscow Film Festival.
Let's say it in Russian.
Московский международный кинофестиваль.
You know you're in Moscow when you see the Red Square.
Chooses every 2 hours, I think. Come here. Come here.
Вот вид института тоже.
Папа.
What is he? He's a beggar? No.
Salt fish for beer. Beer.
For beer?
I like beer with salt fish. Take it, please.
Бабуль, защиты, они сами там разберутся.
Машины, вот появились.
Да. Я дала ему сигнал. Я остановилась. В принципе, его только утром. Я ему звонила, он встал на моих путях. Я никуда не могла. Вот у меня останусь. Но он вырулил, остановился, а я подъезжаю и торможу ему. Он вырулил, остановился на путях. У меня вот остановка, я никак не могла никуда. Вот моя остановка. Вот пешеходный переход, он должен останавливаться.
Сигнал поднос.
Тут трамвай, он пошел. Не прав, не прав.
А никуда не людей ехать, сигнал. Ты бы стоял, на тебя поехал.
А, наверное, он ехал. Он на галах сюда ехал. Она людей везла. Он вообще не имеет права доезжать сюда. Понимаете?
Down this way as we go out, down the left, train number 2, car 13. We need to take all our baggage with us in the cabin with us. We're not going to take baggage separate from us. It's going to be pretty tight. So we have to take all this stuff with us. What to do is the stuff that we checked in the first day, we'll bring that over separately.
Store all that
So
together.
maybe one person can just stay here with the gear, but everything else here needs to go in our cabin with us, as well as what else is coming. Okay? Train number 2.
Понял, все понял.
I became crazy if I was sailing for 6-7 weeks. Yeah.
Возможности принятия очень эффективных мер на этом море и главное при Араде для населения.
А как дальше?
What's happening, Trails? What's happening?
Bye, Mike.
Ciao, Tanya.
You can rest now.
You were with us.
I knew it was in there.
What, the blue bag?
That's 2 months. Our troop leader. Let's do it. It's like pioneer camp and you are... no. Yes, I think so. This one's
Turn that one. I think it's a town or something like that. I can't remember. You see that? I got
It's the worker.
The
Soviet worker.
Kalyana in Tula, the home of Tolstoy.
Hold that open. Wait a minute.
I told him I was a Tolstoy.
Or it gets consumed.
We went to the museum today, the Tolstoy Museum.
Really? Yeah.
It was really nice.
Исполнители, как Николай Гедда, Руджеро Риччи, Рафаэль Ороско. Советский Союз в числе других исполнителей на фестивале представляет симфонический оркестр Ленинградской государственной филармонии. На галерее Большого зала Ленинградского отделения Союза художников на улице Герцена, 38 вчера открылась выставка работ талантливого графика Леонтия Селезарова. Он пронес через всю сознательную жизнь горячую веру в красоту, которая должна дарить радость людям, согревать их сердца. Тяжелый недуг не дал Селезарову высказаться сполна, выплеснуть все, что жило в его душе, составляло ближние и дальние замыслы.
Tanya was saying, Moscow is crying for you. They don't want you to leave.
just the outer.
Там много. 47-28. Пожалуйста.
Спасибо.
Is it ours? Okay. Just wanted to know. Is it new? Yes, it is.
Drag out.
Shooting now. Yeah, the fun and excitement.
The guy in China syndrome.
Shoot from the hip.
You enjoy the intermediary trade.
Oh shit.
It's gonna be death. We're staring death at the face here.
Get back up.
Or at least serious bodily.
Just pull right in.
Unfortunately, I thought they were blue box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got several red boards.
Поедем вместе на квартиру к Сергею и выгрузим там.
И все будут, да?
Не, а мы быстренько выгрузим, а потом...
А так, может, мы доедем до консерватории для друзей, выгрузим, а вы вернетесь на автобусе, выгрузите нам.
Want to get on film the sign language word for peace?
Go for it. Good. Peace. Sign language for peace.
That's it. There, we got it.
Sorry, not understanding sign language, let alone Russian sign language.
I know, it's a lot of I wish I had one of those buttons that says we're all in the same boat, but I think I've given them all away.
I think I might have one or two in my pack. It's packed away.
There you go. Quarter of it actually translates.
So it could be maybe after lunch.
Доброе утро.
Доброе утро.
Доброе утро, yeah. My name is Lena. I'm your guided interpreter around Leningrad. I'm not sailing. I become seasick very easily. So we have several days in Leningrad, and I want to tell you just some words about what we're going to do here. So at 9 o'clock today we are going to meet the families with whom you stay, yeah. And you have, they promise, you have a kind of snack, yeah, and in the one meeting with people. And afterwards, we are going to have a short city tour around Leningrad, and I'll be your guide. And then at 2 o'clock, we are having lunch. The lunch in the restaurant where we are going to have all our lunches. So every day we have a kind of program till the lunch, and after lunch you have free time. And on our on these days we are going to see Hermitage and some other museums and tell you in detail about this later, okay? And after lunch, yeah, today you are having a meeting, your meeting, for half an hour. After lunch.
Can't show this to everybody. Anyway, a couple of people have expressed a desire to get together and have a little meeting, and it's probably a good time to do that too. So I thought maybe after lunch we get together for a half hour or so, or something like that, just to touch base.
In this country, the population is about more than 5 million people. The 5th million citizen was born last year. And it is, you see a lot of people in the streets. It's not crowded. The town is really empty now because a lot of people are having their vacation, summer holidays, and just there are a lot of tourists in the town. But actually, the town is empty, looks empty, and we're in the very center of the city. This square is the end of the Nevsky Prospect, where the street just in front of us, Nevsky Prospect, that's the right stress. Nevsky Prospect is the main street of the city. In Leningrad we have, you see we have trolley buses and metro and tram. The same, we pay the same amount of money. The fare is the same, 5 kopecks. For metro, you need kopecks, you need coins, and there are exchange machines as take a chance. So use mineral water. Drink mineral water, Pepsi Cola or juices. Maybe broad water is okay, so maybe someone will take an experiment on himself to take.
Are you ready,
I think that it's okay. I didn't believe actually when I was told for the first time that water is bad. I didn't believe because I didn't have any problems with us. But then they showed me someone who had got some problems. So they said that's because of water. So it's better to be on the safe side.
What problem? How were they sick?
Now don't make it safe.
Huh?
I don't know.
Federal Republic of Germany, so it's an English
I never thought that he can say a letter. Is from the word fontan, which means fountain. The water of this river was used to supply the... At that time, the church allowed only to paint icons, so only icon painting existed at that time. So in Peter's time, portrait painting started to develop, and the first Russian architect started to work in the middle of the 18th century. So in the beginning of the 18th century, Peter the Great had to invite Italian and French architects, and he also wanted to have this town looking not worse than best capitals. And he wasn't avid at all when inviting the best architects of Europe. We'll see these buildings designed at that time during our tour. 18th century by a Russian architect Chivakinsky. They have services every day. Actually, the cathedral is open every day. It's very beautiful.
Even though we're munchkins.
Okay.
После этого можно будет знакомиться и ждать нашего. Знакомиться разрешено в процессе приема пищи. Хорошо.
Кто тут на что-нибудь? Черт,
Ребята, хозяева, у кого выручки для бутылок? И у кого это все?
If you need an explanation, sir, you are welcome. I can
I studied literature.
I think we're gonna
people are tired and they want to sleep. So just it's not obvious go to the house. But you have to so they have to go back. And I told you
So what we're going to do now is just get on the bus and go on the tour of Leningrad. And at 2 o'clock, we're going to go to the restaurant and have lunch. And about 3:30, to give us enough time to have lunch and have a little get-together. At 3:30, the host families will come pick us up from the restaurant and take us to wherever it is that we're staying. As far as baggage goes, when we get off the bus to go to the restaurant, if your host, actually right now when we go to the bus, if your host is here and they have a car, you can easily get to your baggage, put your baggage in the host car and you can take it away. It's quick and easy, that's fine to do. It's a problem, we can take our carry-on baggage with us to the restaurant. When the host picks us up from the restaurant, we'll take the carry-on baggage with us to the all the big stuff that's staying until the TV comes in. Just going to stay on the bus and go away when the bus leaves. Quick and easy, your host is here, you know where your baggage is, you want to get rid of it down, you have the car, that's fine. No problem, take it with you to the restaurant.
Just 2 words, yeah, just 2 words about this.
Значит, вы, как рассказали, знаменитый Петербургской консерватории, Ленинградской, которая в 52 году.
Conservatoire is very well known in Russia. St. Petersburg was the capital of Russia, and this is the main college, musical college of Russia. And it was founded in it was the main musical college, and it was founded in 1862.
Первый директор этой консерватории, его структура,
And the first director of this conservatoire is Rubinstein. It's here, this sculpture.
Эту консерваторию кончил знаменитый композитор Петр Чайковский.
And Tchaikovsky graduated from this conservatoire.
Вот, и многие композиторы, римских Корсаков,
And such composers like Rimsky-Korsakov.
имени которых работает.
And this conservatoire is called Rimsky-Korsakov Conservatoire.
И многие другие знаменитые композиторы, которые
And other Russian composers.
Сейчас у нас здесь имеется музыкальный театр, при консерватории который связывают готовить руководство американского шумера
And here in this conservatory there is a music theater, and now a big work is taking place of staging the Candide by American producer here in this conservatory. And the conductor for that performance will be Bernstein. Yes, here in this building, in the music theater in conservatory.
Будет 300 участников наших, которые будут эту оперу готовить и на английском языке, и на русском.
Это угол наличный и большой прозрачный, конец большой и так далее. Тем более мы сразу покажем место, где мы будем принимать, где будет приходить их лекция. У них туда будет приходить лекция, и это довольно интересно. Просто если мы сорвемся
Tchaikovsky.
Oh, good. I'll take it. I'll drink it. I drank Leningrad. Let's go.
It's sort of like clear, but it's different. It's made out of wax.
Поехали. Поехали. Let's go. Поехали.
No, I'm not shooting.
This word "поехали" became famous after Gagarin's flight, the first flight into the space. So
Yuri Gagarin.
Launched the rocket, he said "поехали." Now it's very popular.
Yuri Alexiev Gagarin.
The Soviet Union, this huge country, consists of 15 union republics, and Russia. Russia is the short name for the Russian Soviet Socialist Federative Republic. And Moscow is the capital of the whole Soviet Union and the capital of the Russian Soviet Socialist Federative Republic, or Russia. And Leningrad was founded in the very beginning of the 18th century by Russian Tsar Peter I. So this city is situated in the delta of the Neva River, and it is, originally the banks of this river were inhabited by Slavic tribes. And the Neva River was very important for trade. Look at that yellow building to the right in distance, with white columns, yellow building to the right. This is former palace of Yusuf and Rasputin was killed there. And he was thrown into the river, into the Moika River, the river which we crossed. So Rasputin was killed in 1914. So the original Slavic tribes lived here since the 17th century. Since the 13th century, many tribes of Russia wanted to take this territory along the Neva River because the Neva River was so important, and it was a good way to bring different things along this river from the north of the country, and it was possible to get to the very south of the country, to the Black Sea, via the Neva River and other rivers and canals. In the 17th century, in the middle of the 17th century, Sweden succeeded in taking these lands, and thus Russia found itself cut off from the main sea routes. So at that time, this town didn't exist, and Moscow was the capital of Russia. In 1782, the Tsar of Russia was Peter I, and at that time he took the throne in 1782, and at that time he was a small boy, and he didn't rule in the country. He had his cousin ruling. And by the end of the 18th century, he became real Tsar, and as soon as he took power, he decided to start a war against Sweden, because at that time, when Sweden had these lands, Russia was completely cut off from the sea routes, and it was really terrible for the development of Russia. So in 1700, he started a war which lasted for 21 years, and it was called the Northern War. It was the war with Sweden. In 3 years after he started that war, the Russian fleet, very young fleet, which was founded by Peter, and for that Peter had to start a number of very important industries like shipbuilding and other industries. So the Russian fleet managed to get these lands back. And in 1703, this town was founded. Now we are crossing the Neva River, the main river of the town. It has a lot of branches, but here is the main part of the river. It enters into the Gulf of Finland, which is several kilometers to the left. And it originates from the Ladoga Lake, which is some 70 kilometers into the right direction. All the river is navigable. The depth is averagely 14 meters. Before the town was renamed again, it was called Leningrad in 1924 after Lenin died. We'll have the first stop just close to this place. The rostrum, which means prow of a ship. In ancient Rome, there was a tradition to put up triumphal columns and to decorate them with the models of prows of defeated ships. So Peter the Great, after a number of very important victories at sea, he was very proud of them. He ordered to put up these columns. They were used as lighthouses. Now they're just decorations. And on the basis of these columns, there are 4 figures. 2 male, 2 female, equal. So they symbolize 4 main rivers of the European part of Russia. They are the Volga, the Dnieper, the Volkhov, and the Neva.
I understand St. Peter, or Peter the Great's Navy.
Yeah. In Peter the Great's Navy, there was a number of very famous salesmen. Sailors. Sorry. Okay. So this building, the yellow building to the left, is a former warehouse. Now it is zoology museum, and we often call it Mammoth Museum because 2 mammoths, real mammoths, are on display there. One of them, the big one, huge one, was found in 1900 in Siberia, and the other is small one. His name is Dima, just small kid the mammoth, and he was found in 1981, and he has real hair. Now they do research which shampoo he used in those days. And that building with white columns is former stock exchange, and now it is Maritime Museum, founded by Peter. On the other side, when you get out, you'll see thick walls and a church with very high, very big, tall spire. This is St. Peter and Paul Cathedral, St. Peter and Paul Fortress, which is the first building of this town. And when you get out on the right side of the river, you'll see green and white building, which is former Catherine's Palace, and now it is a building of the Hermitage Museum. And we'll see this building several times outside on the tour. And tomorrow we have a tour to the Hermitage, tomorrow morning.
National creation of Russia.
Perestroika t-shirts, huh?
We got like national creation of Russia.
To travel, it's very interesting. All the river, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
Может быть, мы уже поедем? Лена?
Я думаю, что
Just remember these words, two words. Морской вокзал. About 20,000 students and about 1,000 postgraduates and a lot of foreigners, not a lot, but quite a number of foreigners go to the Leningrad University to study Russian language, Russian history, or there are also students from third world countries who study at the law department and maths department and some other departments. On this island, Leningrad University. Some other buildings are along the Neva River, but a number of them are around the town, and also a number of departments have moved to students' town, students' campus, which is some 30 kilometers from here. Like maths and computers and physics and biology departments have moved there. In the Soviet Union, every stage of education is free. So students, people after leaving school, 10 years school, they have their leaving exams. If they want to go to enter any college or university around the country, they can go there, and they have entrance exams. So this poor person has to take exams twice. The competition is pretty high. So this year, the competition to the university is about 3, 4, 5, 6 people for one place. They take 3 or 4 exams. Then these people who apply to the university told what number of points they're supposed to have to be enrolled. So if they don't have enough, if they want, they come here and take exams again next year. We have a daytime department, full-time department, evening time department, and correspondence departments. So daytime department students have grants, state grants, which is from 50 to 100 rubles per month. It depends on the specialty they're going to have. The course covers 5 years, 5 or 6 years, it depends on specialty. And before writing the graduation diploma, only daytime students have so-called appointment for jobs. What is this? So they have a list of jobs available. the jobs only according to their future specialty, and they choose from this job list. These jobs can be in Leningrad or they can be in other towns too. So the best students choose, they are the first to choose, the bad one in the end of the line. And they are supposed to work at that place for 3 years. If this graduate comes and finds out that the work is not according to the specialty, and the conditions of work and the other things are not according to that information they were given before, it is a good excuse, so they can just take any other job. A good excuse is also marrying someone. So if a person married to someone from another town, so he can go. Very often students find a job when they have practice, when they are still students. And if they are okay, if the boss likes this person and this person likes the job, this person can get a special letter for the Ministry of Education and get this job when graduating. Daytime students have a number of benefits, like they pay 50% for train tickets and so on. There is no such job appointment for evening students. They are supposed to work according to their job future specialty from the 3rd or 4th year. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I'm an evening student of the Leningrad University of the Language Department last year. Correspondence students, evening students and correspondence students have from 30 to 40 days off, paid 100% days off per year for taking exams. And when they graduate, they have 4 months of paid leave for writing diploma. But they have to find job by themselves.
Can you take a correspondence course from the U.S.? No. Too bad. What do you mean by writing the diploma? Do they have to write?
It depends. Diploma depends on the specialty. If it is a math student, so it can be research or it can be a project, a design. If it is language student, so it can be research on literature or on linguistic problems. It depends. If you are in engineering college, you do a project. And you defend, and there are just professors, and you defend this.
You choose your specialty. I mean, you get to decide what you're going to study in the higher levels.
Mostly the subjects are compulsory, but you can take, if you want, you can take something extra. At school, also, all the subjects are compulsory, but if you want to major in something, you can have faculty. But also, what is a good thing about here, we have special schools like language school, math school, chemistry, and so on. So students from the age of 10 or 13, 14 can specialize seriously going to that special school. Language schools are just from the kids for 6 or 7, but the other schools are for kids of 14, 15. And the program schools programs in physics. We don't have just science. We have physics, maths, chemistry, biology separately. And these subjects start when kids are 13 or 14, something like that. Pretty early.
But you can decide between going into language and going into physics.
You mean at school level or at college level?
School level.
Yes, if you can go to general school and have just education, just general education, but with all these subjects compulsory. But if you really feel like going and you're a talented person, you can go to math school, if you want, sure, or if your parents want you to go, which happens very, very often when just parents push their kids, especially to language school. Language schools are very prestigious. Yeah. Okay. He introduced so many things, so new things, and the church was sometimes. And Peter took a part of the power from the church, and the church sure didn't like this. So there was a number of columns is a former horse riding school, and now it has exhibitions, art, and they've done quite a number of them already. Leningrad, Moscow and other towns. The hotel will be ready by December, this December. We are in the central square, in one of the central squares. In the middle of the square there is monument to Nicholas I, who was a Russian Tsar in the beginning of announced to the world about the October Revolution. So this is Cruiser Aurora, Russian. The main street and we'll go for lunch. As she was a very rich woman, she was Tsarina in Russia for quite a long time. And to the lunch.
Chicken. Nice backdrop.
Boy, nice. Da.
To the left, behind the trees, there is yellow building with columns with red flag. This is Smolny. Originally, that building was constructed for a school for noble girls from noble families. It was building of the 19th century. After the revolution, the second revolution, when the Tsar was overthrown, that building stood empty. It is a museum of revolution, and it is also the Leningrad Committee of the Communist Party.
The second word has to come with a cuss sound because the first nickname, this guy Bruce Belshman took the name Captain Cruel.
Actually, you see this street to be completely straight. The street is very long, so Peter the Great ordered his state construction band to design and build one part of the street, and this part where we now was to be built by people from the monastery and the serfs of the monastery. Monastery had serfs at that time. And then when these two teams, two bands met, they realized that there was an angle between these two streets. So Peter the Great blamed the church. The church had to say, yes, we are to be blamed. They had no other way to say. They couldn't say, yes, no, it is your workers were wrong. They couldn't say this. So, but anyway, as a result, the streets just consist of two streets at some angle. Obstructing in the beginning of the 18th century, there was a number of decrees issued by Peter. For example, no wooden structures palace. The last Tsar Nicholas II, after he married, he lived in this palace. The last Tsar Nicholas II ruled between 1894 and 1917. He was overthrown in February 1917. And first he moved to quite strange for Leningrad when they come to Moscow.
haven't really done that. So this could be a good opportunity to do that sort of thing. Albert's going to have a couple announcements. Lauren's got an announcement. I've got a couple of things to ask. And maybe before all that happens, you could think maybe about some other things if we wanted to generate a short discussion about some of the cultural experiences that we've been having that you might want to share with each other or something like that too. We can do that. Whatever is enriching.
Come in here at 3:30, pick everybody up and take us to our village and take us back. So we need to finish up this meeting at 3:30. The other thing is that Elena asked us to come here on the first floor is where we're going to meet tomorrow morning, and she changed the time to 9:30. Okay, so we should meet here tomorrow, 9:30. Slava heard from the Tevega the last night we were in Moscow, and he said it was kind of a bad connection. He couldn't talk very much with them or communicate very much or get too much information, but they did agree that the Tevega would arrive on the 14th, which is the day after tomorrow. And I think it's 6 p.m. in the evening is when they have things planned for, but the 14th is when they're coming in. And it's our, what's that? Yes, this is the port that it'll come into and that will go out. And Slava and Greg and I talked briefly, and what we really hope we can do is make the turnaround as quick as possible. So provided there's no big problems on a ship that we don't know about, we hope that we can get on the food and water and diesel and hopefully make the turnaround in 3 days, 2 if we're really doing good, 4 if we're okay, and hopefully it wouldn't be more than a 5-day turnaround or so. So we're really shooting for 3-day turnaround. So we feel like the sooner we get going, the better.
Is there going to be a problem with the visas if we run a day over?
That's their problem. They'll take care of it. And get ourselves organized out there. I don't know if you have anything you want to add or say about that. But that's kind of like what Greg and I and Slava spoke about. And Slava's coming here on the 14th during the day, and that's when Greg and I and Slava and maybe some of the other people hope to sit down and start to hammer out some of the different ways in which we'll organize ourselves on the boat.
We're going to be staying with our host families until we depart, or we're going to switch over to
switch over to where?
The boat. Which is the first
we're not going to know that until they get in and we see when they're ready to get off.
Any kind of welcoming ceremony planned?
I'm sure there is, yeah, but it's hard to plan. Slava's been really beside himself trying to plan a welcoming ceremony without knowing when it should be.
The question just came up. When they do get off, does that necessarily mean we'll be all getting on because of the numbers of homes they would have to have, host families they'd have to have?
Well, I think so, but we have to talk to them about it. I'm not sure exactly how many host families. I mean, I just anticipate when they get off, us getting on. I'm not sure how anxious they'll be to get off. I don't know if they'll want to get right off or if that'll be actually more difficult than staying on for a minute. But I personally think that, I would think to let their needs govern what we do as far as when they get on and off. So if they've had a long stretch.
To the groups that are working on similar water pollution issues that similar to groups that I'm working with on the sound and so on. This is something kind of off my personal agenda where I'm doing a study project trying to make contacts between U.S. environmental groups and so-called public groups here in the Soviet Union. Anyone who'd like to come along for that is certainly welcome. That's happening from what I can tell somewhere on the other side of town. It's about a 45-minute metro ride. I have the address on the bus, but I just thought I'd put out the invitation to anyone who's interested and might want to come along for that.
Can you go into a little more detail about what it is that I didn't quite understand what you were saying. You're going to be meeting with some environmental environmentalists? Or?
Yeah, representatives from some local environmental groups who are working on water pollution issues.
And they're coming together to meet specifically with you?
Yeah.
When?
6 o'clock tonight. And I anticipate that this will probably be the first meeting and to try and get some idea of what's going on both sides, and hopefully have some further meetings before we take off and establish some definite contacts and different ways that we can trade information and that type of thing. I've been doing a lot of study work on what the EPA is doing in cooperation with the Soviet Union and so on, and there are a lot of avenues of cooperation that are already going on, but a major gap is working on specific problems in local areas and applying a lot of the technology that's being traded at a governmental level, but is not really being applied, and just discussing how we get things done in the States versus how they're getting things done here and seeing what we can learn from each other.
That's kind of important for me, is for people pursuing your own interests and your own agendas. It's nice to let me know what you're doing. In my role, in my position, that's kind of important to me. You know, I applaud your initiative and everything. I think it's great you're doing it, but it would be good to just clue me in. We might be making contacts like that already. So, in general, I know people are reaching out for business contacts and all kinds of other things that are your own interest. It would be good just to use me as a clearinghouse so I know what's going on.
Okay. These are the guys from the article that you passed out. And I just made contact.
But for example, unless you use me as a clearinghouse, maybe somebody else is called.
Yeah.
You know? So it's...
In that, just in that vein, is there anybody else here who's working on a project of their own, making their own connections that might be of interest to the rest of the group?
I actually have in Camden, Maine, that sent us some, they're cast birds from Maine and hand painted. They're ornaments. So they're kind of nice for like a family, to give to a family. And we must have another 20 of them.
Okay, so Greg's got birds if you feel like you need a bird.
Canada goose, owl, and cardinal, or something like that, blue jay.
What's your favorite bird?
And there might be some other stuff.
What's your favorite bird?
Anybody else have anything else? I have a bag full of cosmetic sample things, perfume bottles and stuff like that that my mother put together for me. And I have extras of those.
Okay. We have a little salt. Some salt. Yeah. Anybody?
I have some environmental buttons. I'll probably give some out in this meeting today if I get a chance to get there.
Okay.
Still have some left over.
And we really felt like we needed to be with the group today because it's been, several days. And I really feel like we have offended our host family, which I feel badly about, because they had obviously planned to take us away from the group again. And I think they can be easily offended, and that's Albert's point, is that you may say you have your own thing, but you're offending someone.
Well, I'm saying give it advance notice. I mean, we don't have the time yet, but...
Well, the thing is that it's not just an inconvenience to them. They're also really interested in who Americans are.
Oh, yes.
I mean, they would like to spend as much time, many of them, or maybe all of them, would like to spend very much time with us to learn about America. It's just, to some, it's like it's as unknown to them as this place is to us.
So to a certain extent, it's the responsibility that we have to them.
That's what I would...
That's how I feel. Even if it means crunches on our free time, we've got a responsibility to...
Exactly.
This is the case that we had at the tour in New York. We had planned their time out because that's what we thought we were supposed to do. In planning time, we were all under the impression that we're a member of a crew here. We're not tourists. We're here to do a job. Our job is a diplomatic mission here. And a lot of the Soviets had a problem with that, and I guess what we're experiencing is the same thing. But the reality was that it was planned out, and we really have to fulfill our part of the bargain.
If the truth be known, they've been kinder in their agenda than
I agree with you 100%
Yes.
on that.
And what there, they were just being dragged to schools, and they were being dragged to events. Here, we're being a part of their community.
So in that light, we have less reason to complain about.
Also within their society, I get the feeling that they very much look at how the others in the community treat their guests, and it's a very embarrassing thing I've heard said in the Soviet Union to not be treating us correctly. And so if they're seeing their friends or whatnot, thinking that they're not treating their guests right, that's a very, very hard thing for them. It's a very much part of their community, part of their tradition that they extend this hospitality, and they ought to. Everybody expects it of them. So that we're not only offending one person who wants to spend time with us, but they're also being looked at by their community in a way that we weren't in America at all.
Yeah, just quick. I did run into that situation in Moscow where I was also the only one, and I just really didn't feel good one morning. I mean, I felt good enough so that I could have done it. It wasn't like I was totally wiped, and I felt bad about not wanting to participate that morning. But one thing that happened is he went and was with other people from the group. So maybe if that could be arranged, it makes it a little easier because they still are getting that experience with the project and Americans and so on.
Okay, well, it's 20 of, right, we've run 10 minutes over. I'm not sure how to balance this. If we feel like we really need to continue discussing this, I'd be glad to do this for another 5 minutes or so, but...
well, and if we're talking about offending our hosts, I think we should get down there and be with them, since we told them, that we'd be there 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
So, this is it for today.
Пресс-центр Ленинградский комитет защиты.
Yes, if you call a number telephone mine.
Yes.
Yes, right?
Ему не очень надо, он сказал, что ему нужно вообще, но не очень. Не так, как
Ну, он в итоге сказал, что он пойдет. Давайте Где Майк? Михаил. Такси. Такси.
Sasha said if you want to see training, it's possible. It's Saturday at 7 o'clock evening.
7 o'clock tomorrow.
Not tomorrow, Saturday.
Saturday.
Бизнесмен.
А, да.
Бизнесмен. Босс кооператива.
Босс? Я не понимаю, босс. О, босс?
Да, да.
Да, окей.
Bought for my mom yesterday that I've been toting around under my arm for 2 days. I wonder if it's still broken up.
Нарвские ворота. В честь победы над Наполеоном. Да. I like this little army trip. Get the fuck out of the way. Сколько стачек помню, столько асфальтируют. flag?
No, no. Zaporozhets.
Zaporozhets. Zaporozhets. Cool. Oh, here we go with some. Yeah. Obfuscated. Leningrad management. Yes, it's so absolutely absurd. Look, it's a mobile home. A large, well, the major premise of my work, and especially considering environmental problems that don't respect it.
Now, not in Russia, but for instance, you are supposed
Okay, that's what we're talking about.
Looks like this.
Спасибо.
Участники поездки на яхтах из Ленинграда в Нью-Йорк, и, значит, по пути они осматривают те самые отложения пластика on the bottom,
Yes.
on the rivers.
And we're doing nets on the ocean.
И, значит, берут, значит, забрасывают сети там, и в океане тоже вот эти отложения пластиков встречают. What else?
There, take over.
Okay. Plastics and what else? Other deposits?
Yeah, deposition, the plastic that's
Industrial?
floating. Industrial, styrofoam, yeah, mainly just refuse.
This is
всякие отложения. Стирофон, там, любой пластик.
Ну что нам информативно, это конкретные вопросы, может быть, да, они пусть зададут.
Have you any concrete questions?
Yes.
He's the one.
This expedition that I'm on with Mike is different from the reason that I come here to see you tonight.
Different from what?
From I represent several public environmental groups in the States.
Представляет несколько групп защиты окружающей среды в Соединенных Штатах.
I am doing a study at Yale University that is evaluating cooperative efforts for environmental work with the Soviet Union and
объединенных усилий по работе по защите окружающей среды с Советским Союзом.
The groups that I work with focus on specific problems
Наши группы фокусируют, обращают внимание основном
in bodies of water
на состояние воды,
like Gulf of Finland,
вроде Финского залива.
And I'm looking to make contact with Soviet groups, public groups, that are dealing with the same types of problems, similar problems.
What problems?
Yes. For instance, problems relating to sewage disposal.
Значит, проблемы, касающиеся сбросов.
Industrial pollution of waters.
Промышленное загрязнение воды.
Stagnation.
Застой.
Similar to the problems you're having with the dam.
Та же проблема, что касается вашей дамбы.
And I'm curious as to what particular problems you face here.
Он, значит, интересуется, какими конкретно проблемами вы здесь заняты.
And my feeling is that there are many opportunities for dialogue and also for concrete work on
Что он чувствует, что
specific
есть много форм для диалога и конкретной работы и помощи.
In America, public environmental groups have become the most powerful force
В Америке группы защиты окружающей среды стали мощной силой.
in achieving solutions to environmental problems.
В решении проблем окружающей среды.
We do this by applying legal pressure,
Мы делаем это, оказывая юридическое воздействие.
By performing independent studies,
выполняя независимые исследования,
educating the public,
занимаясь образованием публики, обучением.
And essentially with educating the public, commanding votes so that the politicians know if they are to be elected.
И, значит, мы это делаем, управляем голосами избирателей, значит, воздействуем на того или иного политика, говорим, что будут ли они выбраны или нет.
Даже такое влияние,
I work myself with several different public groups.
Я сам работаю с несколькими общественными группами.
The study that I'm involved with now
я сейчас занят исследованиями.
Has made me familiar with
эти исследования позволили мне познакомиться
technological exchange programs,
знакомиться с программами технологического обмена
between in wastewater treatment,
промышленности обработки сбросной воды и
and other environmental related technologies. I have reports.
И другие сообщения, связанные с защитой окружающей среды, технологии защиты окружающей среды. У него есть статьи.
Between Газкомпрода, природа, and US EPA, government agencies.
Между, значит, уже с советским газ и природа, газ природы.
Да.
Госкомприрода, может
быть. Госкомприрода.
Да.
State Committee on Nature.
Yes.
Госкомприрода.
Also,
with whom you deal in Госкомприрода?
Here. I myself
соглашение между Госкомприродой и американскими фирмами.
Have not dealt directly with Газкомприрода, but I have studied the reports of the U.S. government agencies.
Я изучал сообщения американских агентств, комитетов.
And find where there's useful exchange that is in progress.
И я узнал, что сейчас уже действуют полезные обмены.
Much of it is very academic.
Большей частью они еще академичные.
And not focused on the problems, existing problems in bodies of water, such as Gulf of Finland, Gulf of Riga, where I come from, Long Island Sound.
Я сам из пролива Long Island.
Long Island, close to New York.
Недалеко от Нью-Йорка.
Also, several other bodies of water, Buzzards Bay. There are several that have that I would think have similar problems to
Ну и он считает, что проблемы у нас идентичны.
To yours here.
But is it would be general talk, or you can propose something practical for us? We are looking for practical deeds, not talks. We
Yes.
had enough talks.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I'm here. What I have to offer is knowledge of American law, methods that our public environmental groups have been very successful.
Значит, по американским законам, значит, они изучали американские законы, значит, вот эти общественные группы по защите окружающей среды были очень успешны. Значит, их работа успешна. Well?
Contacts with many different specialists that may provide specific help.
Значит, и у нас контакты, значит, со многими специалистами, которые могут оказать существенную нам помощь.
And certain knowledge of new technology that's being developed in the US.
Ну и кроме того, значит, знакомство с теми технологиями, которые созданы в Соединенных Штатах.
For the cleaning of water.
По очистке воды.
And for dealing with environmental problems.
Ну и, значит, с технологиями имеющими дело с защитой окружающей среды. But you know, we are in such positions that we can should get some money or technology or equivalent or devices. We can't pay in rubles because they are not convertible.
Yes.
So we are seeking for funds. We can sell the information, which is useful for all Baltic countries as well as to the world. That's what we can sell. So we need some maybe
business contacts?
No, not business contacts. Maybe some mechanisms, controlling instruments, and so on to start with.
Да, беда наша в том, что у нас проработаны уже все, скажем, так сказать, структуры, как все это сделать. Вот именно дело за...
Значит, we have all organization structures. What we need it is a concrete help. So let's dwell on it. What you can help with us. We know all about.
Before we move on, I would like to know, have introductions of those of you in the room.
Значит, он хотел, чтобы вы представились все, кто здесь присутствует. I'm just help with interpreting. I'm a computer programmer, and I could be helpful in computer monitoring if you'll provide modems to communicate with your computers in any country.
Okay. I'm familiar with, to a certain extent, a network called EcoNet. Do you know this?
Yes.
Computer network?
Yes, I know, but we don't have enough computers.
Yes.
Just a few. So we need modems, we need computers, even cheapest one to connect with the net. We are looking for to work with such computer networks, and that way we could be helpful. But still, we can't sell nothing but information. That's what you can get from us.
So what specific problems do you need help with?
That is, if we'll have machinery, we'll maintain it, we'll fix it, we'll do everything, even make our own devices. But what we need, it is hardware. And to some way is software too,
well,
for monitoring.
What environmental problems do you intend to address?
It is maybe it is environmental monitoring, let's say pollution or some radioactivity and so on. Water in everything. So environmental monitoring.
Yeah.
Спасибо.
Очень мощные промышленные стоки.
That industrial activity gives a lot of sewage with heavy metals.
Состоящие из солей тяжелых металлов. Соли никеля, соли хрома, соли железа, соли меди. Очистить эти стоки от солей тяжелых металлов очень трудно.
It is difficult or impossible to clean the water from those salts of heavy metals.
Методы очистки нашей страны не позволяют достигнуть предельно допустимых концентраций на выходе в горколлектор.
The methods of cleaning of sewage doesn't give us possibility to reach the standards, sanitarium standards, hygiene standards.
И сразу можно вопрос?
Да.
Значит, можете ли вы нам, сказать или сообщить в виде информации, какие у вас сейчас в Америке методы существуют, совершенно современные методы очистки именно солей тяжелых металлов, соли никеля, хрома?
Стоит вдаваться в такие подробности, может быть,
очищают.
Ближе к делу?
Если у них методы, это самые стоки, это очень важно.
Ну, наверное, есть. И
занимается ли фирма?
Для чего? Вам просто для общего знания? Или вы хотите что-то от них получить? Что-то получить?
Мы хотим, да.
Значит,
мы хотим найти, хотим. У нас есть валюта, у нас есть деньги.
They are looking for technology of to deal with such problem. If you
heavy metals.
If you have the same problems and you deal, if you deal with them.
Yes.
So we can pay. The enterprise could pay for such technology because they have hard currency as well as yes, hard currency to pay for such technology. Do you know such a technology?
Yes, I know that this technology is being developed. I'm not a technical expert in this field. However, I have contacts who deal specifically with these problems.
Значит, да, есть такие технологии, значит, и он сам не специалист по этим технологиям, но у него есть контакты, значит, которые могут быть полезны. So can you give the addresses and the names to her? Is it with
yes, I have
можно
one
ли
or
у
two.
вас получить, вот можно через фирму с вами заключить, так сказать, контракт и получить установку по очистке солей тяжелых металлов?
Is it possible of the enterprise to have an agreement with the companies you could represent to build or buy cleansing equipment, ready-made, and to put it in operation here, so they can pay and they could deal with such a company or enterprise.
This is for high concentration heavy metal contamination of water.
Could you give such an information to her?
Possibly.
Да, возможно.
I may not have it
Во всяком случае, вы знаете людей, которые, с которыми
I may not have it with me tonight.
У него не сейчас.
Да, ну понятно, понятно.
But certainly,
значит, вы можете нам, так сказать, контакт наладить с той фирмой, которая выпускает эти установки по очистке солей тяжелых металлов.
Контакт
yes, absolutely.
Да, и значит, мы вам можем представить подробные исходные данные наших стоков. Это мы делали уже не один раз в
So
фирме.
we can give the content of this contamination waters. So you will solve, you will know could that company deal with such a contamination?
А вы нам предложите методы очистки и установки по очистке этих самых стоков. Именно наших стоков.
After examination of this information, we'll sell them technology or an equipment to deal with such contamination.
Certainly, this is a possibility depending on hard currency availability and so on.
Конечно, все это зависит от возможностей, от ваших валютных возможностей.
Ну, понятно.
Есть у вас, да? Есть. Есть у вас, да?
Да, у нас есть возможность. Теперь, значит, мы можем... Дело в том, что вы передаете, что мы знаем уже ряд западных фирм, которые нам предлагают определенные методы очистки. И очень бы хотелось знать, какие у них методы очистки, понимаете?
They want to know more specific information about methods of cleansing. So, will you give to her? Is it with you or she should contact with some other people?
High concentration heavy metal contamination is not an activity
of your group,
of my particular group. However, one method that we might use to attack this problem is here. This is a joint work with U.S. government, Soviet government, this agency.
Значит, с 1973 года, значит, с этой организацией не вот Гео, знаете?
Maybe we're on the such a critical point because those things are going to be worse and worse.
Поэтому я позволю себе так же, как он, так сказать, тезисно представился и выразил свою концепцию, также выразить концепцию свою и тех людей, которые меня окружают.
So he wants to face you with the problems they have.
Если рассматривать, то есть если считать, что трагедия человечества связана с тем, что мы не умеем или не хотим согласовывать свои действия с законами природы,
so if we consider that our tragedy is that we cannot coincide our problems and the laws of the nature,
то
prison, тюрьмы.
Да, лишение свободы, с отсрочкой на год.
But it is postponed for a year. This.
So in 1 year you must go to prison for 2 years.
Ну, как это будет выглядеть, что через год?
Если в течение года я ничего не нарушу с позиции местной власти, то
в чем он очень сомневается?
Снимается.
Его спровоцируют.
If during the year there will be no any violence from the point of government of him, this sentence will be put off.
Дело в том, что со мной обошлись бы гораздо жестче, если бы я не имел такой известности.
Авторитет.
This decision could be much more strict if he hasn't such an authority.
Потому что я писатель,
because he's a writer, he has publications.
В Америке я публиковался в 1979 году еще.
He was publicated in America.
В альманахе «Метрополь», очень известном.
In Metropolis.
В котором публиковался Аксенов, Вознесенский, Ахмадуллин, Искандер, Литов, Высоцкий.
The same magazine where it was published Вознесенский, Высоцкий.
И с 1985 года я уже включен в хрестоматию по изучению русской литературы в Америке.
And his books are included in the